Welcome to another episode of Newslaundry interviews. I am Shiv Narayan. The central government has so far cancelled over 20,000 FCRA registrations. FCRA stands for Foreign Contribution Regulation Act and is a must for non-government organizations, welfare societies and other such associations to receive foreign money. Of late, we have seen some prominent organizations losing their FCRA registrations. Some of them are Center for Policy Research, Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, Oxfam India, Center for Equity Studies, Independent and Public-Spirited Media Foundation, etc. Another such organization to lose FCRA registration is India Institute for Critical Action Center in Movement, or CASIM. It is a network of social organizations and individuals. It aims to strengthen social organizations which are helping us understand social, political, and economic structures through research, publications, and community engagements. One of the projects run by CASIM is Center for Financial Accountability, or CFA. Our guest today is Joe Athialy, Executive Director of CFA. Mr. Athialy, welcome to Newslaundry interviews.
Thank you.
My first question is, why has the central government cancelled FCRA registration of India Institute for Critical Action Center in Movement?
Thank you for talking to me. The reason they have given is very general, very vague. They have said that there are errors in the filings of 2018-2019. It's not explaining what the errors are, and it's also taking 6 years for them to kind of say that there is some error. Other things are more technical. I mean, they are saying that FC4 filings are not correct. I mean, again, it doesn't kind of say what is wrong about it. But this is the case with everyone. I mean, they give vague explanations as reasons.
What is FC4 filing, if you could tell us?
FC4 filing is the quarterly filings that one needs to do on the FCRA portal, giving all the details of the money that you received in the foreign account from foreign sources. All the details, their address, their email, amount, for what purpose, and all those things. That's a mandatory for every FCRA organization.
I've read to some of the media houses you have given your interviews to. You said that if there are minor infractions in tax filing, then that doesn't mean that government will also cancel registrations of business houses. So if this was the case with the business house, the government would make some amends, or government would not take the final call.
Exactly. I mean, consider that a company had some erroneous filings. Does it mean that tomorrow the company is going to kind of shut down? No. I mean, you are given a chance to kind of correct it, right? I don't know whether we have an error in our filing. If there is an error, then every organization should be told about it, and they should give an opportunity to kind of do that. We certainly believe that it's nothing to do with the technicalities. It's seen widely, and as you rightly said in the beginning, it's weaponizing FCR. They are using it as a political tool, and they are using it particularly on organizations who are critical of the government, raising questions on the policies and the functioning of this government. They are particularly targeted. It's not that you can always kind of hide behind technicalities, but finally, this is a political action that the government is taking.
You were saying the government is weaponizing FCRA against civil society organizations who are critical of the government's policies or the government. But so far, after the Lok Sabha elections, the mood in the nation was that the government might go slow on voices against voices who are critical of the government. But this doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, there are many political analysts who have said that it would be a myth to kind of believe that this government is going to change course in its third term just because its mandate have kind of gone down. BJP doesn't have an absolute majority, doesn't mean that they are going to change course. That has proven. I mean, in the month of June, you have seen the number of lynchings of Muslims happen all over the country, right? I mean, it's just continuation. It's not just about FCRA. It's not just about CSOs. You need to kind of look at it in the totality. how they kind of treat political prisoners. I mean, you have political prisoners incarcerated there for the last so many years without even given charge sheet, without even given bail. I mean, you have the Bhima Koregaon people, a good number of them are still in the jail. You have people involved in the Shaheen Bagh and other protests, they are still in the jail. You have activists being clamped with false cases on them. They are running to court every now and then. The FCRA cancellation has to be seen in that larger context. That's one of the things. And coming back to the point that you are making, whether the government has changed or not, no. I mean, that can be also kind of seen in the political articulation that they are doing. I mean, as I was mentioning, I mean, the lynchings are continuing, right? I mean, there is no change in it. So it's a myth that this government is going to kind of change just because they lost that absolute majority.
So the possible reasons why Qasim's FCRA has been cancelled, apart from the possible reason, one possible reason that media has given so far is critical report by CFA on a coal project by Adani. CFA has looked at has been monitoring government policies for 7 years at least. Do you think that your critical look at Adani projects or projects which government call in national interest, that might have ruffled government's feathers?
Maybe. I mean, we don't know for sure what exactly has caused. We did write a report on Adani. That's a coal to PVC, coal to plastic project which is coming up, which is considered to be one of the world's dirtiest projects. I mean, the whole of the Kutch. I mean, this is in addition to the coal thermal projects which is already there in Kutch. It's a eco-sensitive area, and there the coal to PVC project is coming up. The report is about the hazards environmental and health hazards. I don't know why there should be a problem in putting together the environmental and health hazards of a coal to PVC project at a time that you don't kind of even tell the local communities what its impacts are going to be. But I'm just kind of mentioning about that report. We did write the report, but that's not the only report that we have written. Over the period of time, we looked at multiple claims of the government. When the government said that, economy has bounced back, we really kind of went into the details and looked at that, what exactly is the situation on the ground. We put together experts, economists together. We had series of meetings around that. We have written reports on smart city projects. I mean, we are seeing the crumbling infrastructure in all major cities, despite spending thousands of crores of rupees on these 100 smart city projects, where they wanted to kind of create an island of prosperity, island of everything. I mean, without kind of taking care of the infrastructure of the rest of the city. We are seeing that. We have written reports about that. We have written reports against privatization of the public sector, where at one point of time, taxpayers' money really contributed to the building of that public sector entities. They have contributed to the national economy. And at a time, they want to kind of sell it. They just kind of sell it without considering it. So I'm just saying that we did a series of such reports which probably might have irked the government.
In recent times, it's very rare. It's been rare that not-for-profit groups, having lost their FCRA licenses, would remain defiant. Because previously we have seen that these groups, so civil society organization, they would not come out, they would not speak their mind. That way, your Twitter thread makes no bones about where you stand. If I could read the first tweet, I mean, it's a Twitter thread of, there are 14 posts that you put out. The first one says, a dozen reasons to irk those in power, a dozen reasons to be proud. Then you have shared reports that you have done over the last few years. And the last tweet says, says that for a dozen of such crimes, the cancellation of the FCRA registration is, after all, a small price to pay. Previously, we have seen that the government hasn't stopped at cancellation of FCRA. Then there have been IT raids. CBI has also visited some of the think tanks, some of the civil society organizations. So, do you see that there could be bigger problem for you, because you have spoken your mind? You are saying that the government. Your stance is pretty clear.
Well, what action can follow? I mean, maybe the government can kind of say about it. We don't know about what action is going to follow. But let me clarify, we are not the only one who is kind of talking against FCR. There are a lot of organizations, small and big, who are very clear about their position when it comes to FCRA and how this is used as a political tool. So we are not the only organization who is kind of speaking against FCRA. There is a large number of organizations. Some of them must be reported in the media. Some of them are not reported in the media. That doesn't mean that people are not talking about it. The second aspect of it is that all these actions that the government is taking is also to kind of intimidate the organizations, silence them, and in a way, kind of indicating that if we can take biggies, whether it's Greenpeace, Amnesty, CPR, you talk about Oxfam. If the government is indicating that we can take action about this, on this big organization, small organizations won't kind of stand a chance. And it's a way to kind of intimidate them and silence them. And a good number of civil society organizations recognize this, and they kind of speak out. There is no. So I just want to clarify that it's not just we are talking about.
So my question is, will the strong-worded response on Twitter ruin Qasim's chances of getting any reprieve from the government?
I don't know. We have not kind of thought about that. We certainly believe, as I said earlier, that this is a political decision. Cases like this, they take the decision first and then find an excuse to kind of justify it. So what happens after the reacting to the decision is not in our hands. We can't kind of make a guess about it.
Do you think Adani Group is a holy cow for the central government? Because in the previous at least two cases I can recount, for at least CPR, Center for Policy Research, and LIFE, which is an organization run by two environmental lawyers, Ritik Datta and Rahul Chaudhary. The government in its reports mentioned Adani projects, saying that these projects are of national interest and foreign funds are being diverted to scuttle such projects. And in CPR's case, the authorities said that foreign funds were diverted for activism. I think they also mentioned Hasdev protests, coal block protest. So do you see any pattern in the way FCRA licenses are being cancelled of such prominent organizations?
Yeah, absolutely. It's blatantly done. It's not just what we think. It's kind of black and white, and it's reported time and again. Political parties have spoken about this. Political party leaders have spoken about it multiple times, giving examples of how this government is favoring Adani Group in a very big way. Whether it's airports, whether it's sports, whether it's any other project. And anybody kind of criticizing Adani, it's kind of taken very personally by this government and its leadership. So there is no doubt about whether the government is kind of favoring this company or not. And it's also true that whoever has kind of taken some action, some writing, some research, something done on Adani Group has been kind of targeted.
Coming back to CF and Qasim, what will be the impact of FCRA cancellation for these two organizations? What was your communication like with your staff when you learned about the cancellation?
They were sad, of course. I mean, obviously, they are all disappointed. They are staring at a uncertain future for sure. But at the same time, the last 3 days we have got innumerable messages of support, phone calls, messages that we have been kind of sharing with them, and that has kind of really given them a lot of courage. So all of them have decided to kind of carry forward the work. We certainly do not know how we will kind of meet the ends. That's very different. But the work that CFA has been kind of doing, we will certainly kind of carry forward, and staff is very sure about.
But will it reduce Qasim's capabilities? Because earlier maybe you would take 100 projects. Now the number of projects would come down. You'll have less manpower.
No, we don't take 100 projects. The projects is all small and manageable. What it means is that we won't be able to kind of do as effectively as we did earlier. So, for example, calling meetings. I mean, we cannot kind of even keep our office, right? I mean, we can't kind of pay the rent of the office now. So all those kind of things will have seriously an impact on the functioning of the organization. But we also kind of know that there are innovative ways to kind of carry forward this work. And we will certainly be kind of looking at those options in continuing this work.
But did Qasim rely wholly on foreign funds, or there are domestic donors also?
There are small portion of funds from India, but most of it is from foreign sources.
So what is the share of foreign funds of the total funds that Qasim receives?
Around 80 to 85% of the money will be coming from foreign sources. Some of the projects are covered by domestic funds. Not all the projects are covered by them.
CFA has also worked with the government institutes, government bodies.
We co-organize meetings with multiple entities. So there could also be kind of such organizations there. I mean, we certainly try to kind of not want to kind of talk to only to the converted. We want to kind of reach out to a larger audience because economy on which we kind of work is something which affects everybody, right? Inflation, household debt, everything that you talk about is connected with economy. It connects with common people. And hence we want to kind of reach out to the kind of maximum number of people, and collaborating with some of the organizations and different kind of, even media houses really kind of help us reaching that. I also want to kind of go back to the earlier point once where you were kind of talking about the corporate world and the NGO world. The first few years, if you remember, the government has kind of watered down thousands of policies in this country in the name of ease of doing business. And when I say policies being watered down, the policies were of environment, labor standards, and all those kind of things, not anything else. During the pandemic time, assuming that the corporate world will kind of generate a lot of jobs, their taxes were cut from 30% to 22%. And then finally, the finance minister had to kind of wonder that. And in addition to all these things, there was also this production linked incentive, right? I mean, PLI. After all these things, the Indian industry is not creating any more jobs. The finance ministry had to kind of ask that, why are you not kind of investing more, right? Now, look at the NGOs. The FCRA amendments each time, which was kind of done, only kind of tightened the liberty to kind of work more efficiently. It kind of put more hurdles on the way in its functioning. It kind of criminalizing dissent. That's what it is kind of happening here. In a way, you criminalize the activities of this organization by saying that you violated this, that, and the other, and cancelling the FCRA is also kind of making you look like guilty in front of the media and the public, actually, while it is not. There is no tax cuts kind of given, there is no incentives given. Rather, it's only kind of victimizing for doing some good job. At a time, the government has kind of failed massively in delivering services to the citizens. I mean, citizens who matters. I mean, not the rich and the powerful that we are talking about. I'm saying about the common people. The services, I mean, they are kind of failed to kind of do that. They fail to kind of generate jobs. The economy is in the shambles. And that's at a time when this kind of decisions on NGOs are being taken. So I just wanted to kind of make this comparison between these two worlds.
So there's a big paradox where how the government treats corporate world and how the government treats civil society organizations. You mentioned the 2020 amendment that government brought in to the FCRA Act. With the amendments, the central government has tightened FCRA, the Act itself. What were the changes made to the Act, if you could explain to our viewers? And were these changes brought in to squeeze space for dissent?
So, I mean, apart from some administrative things like having an account in State Bank of India, Parliament Street branch, and all those kind of things.
Specific FCRA accounts. Yeah.
So every organization in the country who has FCRA needs to open their account in the Parliament Street branch in New Delhi in the SBI Bank, I mean, State Bank of India. And that is the requirement. And then you can have a utilization account and operate it and everything. I would like to kind of keep aside some of those technicalities. The larger things were, one, the sub-granting was prohibited. For example, if X organization is receiving some money, earlier times it could have given small amount of money to different organizations for their work. Because one organization cannot kind of cover this country, right? I mean, there are many very effective, committed group of small organizations in all states. In earlier times, the sub-granting was possible. With this amendment, the sub-granting was stopped. In that way, thousands and thousands of people lost jobs in those kind of small organizations. Thousands of them. Now we are talking about 40. I mean, thousands of them have kind of lost their jobs, and the amazing piece of work they were doing in those areas had to stop. There was no other way that they could kind of do it. The second thing is that all the office bearers needs to kind of have Aadhaar card. Well, Supreme Court has said that Aadhaar is not mandatory for a lot of things. Here it has made mandatory to kind of have Aadhaar. I mean, hence, a lot of people who are opposed to Aadhaar because of data issues, privacy issues, surveillance issues, now, and who has refused to kind of take Aadhaar all these years, cannot kind of be on the board of any organization. I mean, that has reduced the ability of efficient, committed people coming on the board of some of these organizations. And the third big change was to kind of reduce the admin expenditure to 20%. Earlier it was 50%, and that was kind of brought down to 20%. And government wants all the filings to be perfect. It cannot be kind of even have a small mistake, and a small mistake can kind of invite cancellation of your FCRA, right? And then the admin cost kind of goes down to 20%. And how is this making it possible? We don't know. But the three key things changed in the 2020 amendment was these three.
And in 2022, Union Home Minister Amit Shah also said that these changes were brought in to stop misuse of foreign money for anti-national activities.
Who defines that? I mean, we have not seen a definition of what is anti-national, urban Naxal.
And he even said that those who oppose government policies and government.
Oh, yeah, if that, those are anti-nationals, we all are anti-nationals. We are proud to be anti-national if that's the case. I mean, we believe that that's a part of democratic right. That's democracy in function if the citizens are engaging on policies. There could be people who are opposing it. There could be, I mean, a mature and a confident government will come and have a dialogue, engage. They don't have to agree with everything that others are saying. But if they are mature, if they are confident, they will come and engage. What we are seeing here is that because of the weakness and because of the lack of confidence, you go and kind of shut the people who are kind of talking about it and put them in jail, call them anti-national, call them urban Naxal. I mean, Maharashtra government is bringing a law now to kind of define even to, I mean, urban Naxal and all those things, which you know very well. So, I mean, this is a sign of lack of maturity and lack of confidence in themselves, that they are kind of doing all these things brazenly rather than engaging with people who differ with you. I mean, we are again saying that they don't have to agree with everything what we say, but we can certainly kind of have a dialogue. And that calling yourself a mother of the democracy don't make you the democracy. You need to kind of act on the ground and engage on these democratic principles. And only then you can call yourself even a democracy. I mean, just having posters of mother of democracy won't make you democracy. I also want to kind of say that in 2014, Delhi High Court came with a verdict saying that both Congress and BJP violated FCRA by accepting donations from Vedanta's, subsidiaries. What happened to Congress and what happened to BJP? Did they lose their licenses? It's Delhi High Court. It's not any bureaucrat who kind of decided this. Delhi High Court said both these parties violated the FCRA rule. What did they do? In 2016, through a finance bill, they amended FCRA retrospectively, making their violations now lawful. So FCRA violation, when it comes to themselves, they find a way to kind of amend the laws and retrospectively and make them look lawful now. When it comes to NGOs, a certain NGOs, I mean, the FCRA is revoked. So it's not that it's implemented in a just manner everywhere.
As far as engaging with civil society organization is concerned, why does this government not want to engage with the NGOs, with civil society groups?
I mean, what we think is that they don't care for any engagement. They can talk about mother of the democracy, but practicing democracy is not something what we have seen even in parliament. You look at the kind of last government, the number of laws can be passed, number of sittings they had, number of MPs being suspended while major laws were kind of passed, all those kind of things. I mean, even this all new criminal laws which have been kind of come into force on July 1st was passed when a large number of MPs were suspended. So this is how democracy is in the country today. I mean, what's happening? I mean, again, I'm going back to my earlier point. What's happening to some FCRA and some NGOs is not isolation. It's a pattern. It's one of the blocks of a larger puzzle. And unless and until we have a overall look at it, we may probably get lost. I mean, we could kind of see that, oh, somebody lost their FCRA and they are making fuss about it. It's not about FCRA. I mean, organizations, some of them would kind of find it very difficult, but some of them will continue the work. I mean, there are many organizations in this country without FCRA doing amazing work. I mean, this is not that everybody in this country everybody in the social sector has a FCRA. No, large number of them do not have it, right? I mean, still they are kind of doing amazing work. It's not with FCRA that we got some progressive laws in this country. So FCRA is just one small part of the whole story. The larger story here is that there is a crushing of dissent. The democratic rights are not slowly, but in a fast pace being kind of taken away. It's eroding in front of you. People are kept busy with a lot of other things, with mandir and masjid debate and a wedding in Bombay where the roads are closed forever and hundreds of aircrafts come and their dances and their tweets are kind of keeping us all engaged without worrying about eroding of our democratic rights. That's the fundamental point here. And this is at a time when there was a CA protest, there was a farmer protest. There were a lot of hue and cry in the media saying about how inconvenient it was for the public, right? When it comes to a super rich guy's wedding here, I mean, people are dancing around. And one RTI activist recently, yesterday was tweeting about saying that how Reliance has failed to kind of pay around 4,000 crore rupees to the government. And that's the venue where the wedding is happening. Anyway, that's a different point. My point was that the general public is kept engaged on some of these silly things. Silly, bizarre, vulgar things, and not addressing the kind of real issues that you and me should be kind of worried about.
You made one point about number of FCRA licenses being cancelled compared to new licenses given. So the central government gave reply to a question in 2020. Between 2017 and 2020, the government cancelled 6,600 FCRA licenses and issued only 2,240 new licenses in those 3 years. So clearly the government is cancelling more and issuing less licenses.
If you go into the details of who got the FCRA licenses, even it's a small number, a good number of them will be close allies of this regime. The right-wing organizations in this country are thriving with foreign money. They don't have any restrictions. So it's not that FCRA rule is kind of implemented to everyone at the same manner.
So it's an unwritten rule that as long as you don't criticize the government, if you play by the government's rules, you are safe.
Yes, if the government is feeling that they are in support of us, you would probably get it.
Mr. Athialy, I have last question. What will be the next step for Qasim and CFA to ensure that the cancellation is revoked?
It just happened 2 days back. We certainly need some time to consult others and take a call on that. We don't have a plan which is decided as of now. We will certainly need a little more time to kind of make a call on that.
But do you plan to go to the court and challenge the order of MHA?
As I said, we have not kind of decided anything. The board is meeting soon. We also need to kind of consult a lot of others before we finally take a call.
Mr. Athialy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Athialy.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye.